If you're looking for a budget-friendly exhaust that gives your 21 and newer Bronco a deep but mellow tone, well then the Installer Series catback from MBRP is definitely going to be worth a look. Now the Installer system will pack an affordable aluminized steel build along with that 3-inch mandrel bent tubing and large 4-inch tip, all for right around the mid $400 price point. Install is going to be a 100% bolt-on job, guys, so figure solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the old difficulty meter and maybe an hour of your time to complete from start to finish, as we'll show you later in the video. So the Installer Series from MBRP is currently one of the most affordable ways to crank the volume on your 21 and newer Bronco at home, either with the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder or the 2.7 liter 6-cylinder Bronco. I do also want to point out this system will fit both 2 and 4-door rigs. Now let's get to the sound clips, guys, and as you heard at the top of this video, this was with our 2.7 liter shop truck, the 6-cylinder, and I think the MBRP is super mellow, which some people might really enjoy, others maybe might prefer just a little bit more bark or a little bit more volume. But what does this all mean? Well, let's break out the Wake the Neighbor scale, and honestly I have the Installer coming in at a very soft 3 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 the Wake the Neighbor scale. Almost went with a 2, but I feel like it's got just enough volume to nudge it up to a 3. Now I'm personally a less is more guy when it comes to aftermarket exhaust systems on the EcoBoost engine, so therefore I think this system just hits all the right notes. Let's talk about the materials here because again, this is the Installer Series from MBRP. It is the company's entry-level option, and as such you are going to find aluminized steel throughout in place of the more expensive stainless steel. Now this is certainly not bad material per se, but it can be a little bit more susceptible to corrosion over the long run, especially if you live in a snowy or salty climate. Now if you live in Florida or Arizona, California, whatever, then this really shouldn't be much of a concern, but if you live in upstate New York, for instance, then you might want to consider spending a few more bucks and upgrading to either MBRP's XP system, which is a 409 grade stainless, or MBRP's Pro Series system, which is the company's full 304 grade stainless system. But materials aside, the Installer is going to pack that full 3-inch diameter tubing from tip to tip, all mandrel bent. You are looking at a factory style 2-bolt flange after the cat, straight through design muffler here, and finally you have the 4-inch tip embossed or etched with that MBRP logo. Now personally, I'd like to see the tip a little higher up underneath the bumper for this system, especially for you guys who might do a lot of hardcore wheeling in your Bronco. Otherwise, might bang that tip up a little bit. But that's totally a case-by-case basis. Now this system does utilize all of your factory hanger locations as well. They do actually include 2 different hangers near the tip because there are 2 different designs, one with the 2.3, one with the 2.7, and that included hanger will allow this system to work with both engines. Now just a quick heads up here, gang, MBRP does also offer a black version of this system, which is basically the same exact system, the aluminized steel and all. They just powder coat the axle back portion black, which definitely gives it a cool look. A little bit more dough, but you can find that here on the site if you're interested. Now, MBRP also claims that this system is going to increase your flow by over 35% on the 2.7, and get this, a whopping 93% on the 2.3 liter engine, which in turn, MBRP claims should lead to some smaller gains. Now, for me, guys, it's been my experience here over the last decade that catbacks typically are a sound modification first, and any added performance just as kind of an added bonus. But what do you say we shift our focus over to the install, guys? This one again, pretty straightforward, full bolt-on job, no cutting needed. But to give you a better idea of how it will go down, check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown now.
Tools needed for this installation: pry bar, exhaust grommet removal tool, PB blaster, 3/8 swivel, 5/16 Allen, 10 millimeter, 15 millimeter sockets, 3/8 electric impact gun. First thing we're going to do, now that we have our truck up on the lift, is we're going to spray our rubber exhaust grommets here that hold our muffler up. If you do have to put your truck up, jack it up, make sure you use jack stands. In this case, with this vehicle being the height, you might even be able to lay on the ground and do it. So I'm going to spray some PB Blaster on our 2 grommets. Now, I'm going to get my 15 millimeter and loosen the axle clamp up that holds the muffler on. Now I'm going to take my 15 millimeter on my impact gun, loosen our clamp here. I'm not going to remove the nut All you gotta do is loosen it. The clamp is welded to the pipe there. Next, we're going to start removing our rubber hangers that hold the exhaust up. Now I'm going to use our exhaust grommet removal tool. If you don't have this, you can use a pry bar, wedge it in there, you'll be able to pop it off. I'm going to get this behind there. Pop this grommet off. Now we'll remove the other one, and then we'll start removing our muffler. Now we're going to remove this one here. I'm going to start removing it and hold the muffler. Pull my tool out of the way. Now that we have that, we're going to be able to give the muffler wiggle and pull up and down, side to side, and our exhaust is removed. Now that we got our muffler off, we're going to remove our rubber hanger mount here that holds our axle pipe up. I'm going to take a pry bar. It's kind of hard to get in there with my exhaust removal tool, and slide this off, holding the pipe so it don't hit me in the head, and we're going to drop it down. So now that we have our grommet removed back there, holding our exhaust up, I'm going to remove our two 15 millimeters up here at our flange. And once I get them off, we're going to take off our two 10 millimeters here that hold our flange pipe up. We're going to end up reusing this part of the flange mount, and the other pipe is going to, or the other bracket's going to slide into that. So you want to make sure when you take them off, you hold on to it. Now that I have the two 15 millimeters loose and off, and I have the 10 millimeters in this bracket off, I'm going to lift up, slide this pipe off. It does have a gasket on the flange. We're going to leave that on there for now. I'm going to pull this pipe right back out over the rear, and our old exhaust is removed. So now that we have our old exhaust off, I'm going to start by reinstalling the bracket that we took off earlier. This just pops off the other flange pipe. We're going to put this back on using the factory hardware. I'm going to start the two 10 millimeter bolts. Tighten them up with our gun. So now we have our bracket on. We're going to reuse our gasket from the factory on our flange, plus the hardware that we have, or our factory hardware. We're not going to change that. I'm going to start by installing our flange and sliding our hanger in. Get our two 15 millimeters started. Take my 15 millimeter. And for now, I'm going to get them tightened up. Our brackets in. Now we'll go on to our mid pipe. Next, we're going to take our mid pipe. I'm going to stick it through our hanger, our rubber grommet up top, and get that started. Once I get that in place, then we'll go and install our pipe. I already stuck my clamp on. I'm going to take my 15 mil. I'm only going to snug it a little bit because we're going to need to be able to move this. So once we get the rest of the exhaust on, we can adjust for fitment. So I'm going to leave it just like that until I'm ready, and then we'll tighten from front to back. Now that we have our axle pipe on, I'm going to slide my clamp on and install our muffler. I'm going to put it in the hanger first and get that started. I'm going to just get it started. I'm going to bring the muffler up. Slide it over top of our pipe, like that. Push our hanger back on. I actually did put some PB Blaster on that, but sometimes they're a little tough. Now I'm going to hold it up, slide my clamp in place. Get my clamp where I want it. And take my 15 millimeter, level the muffler, snug this clamp up here. Next, I'll install my clamp first. Slide that into place. And now we'll install our tailpipe. I'm going to put it through the rubber grommet first. I put some PB Blaster on this too. Sometimes they are tough to get in. Slide our tailpipe into place. And I'm going to use it and twist it like that. And get the clamp where I want it. Make sure the muffler looks level. And we'll tighten our 15 millimeter up. And we'll stand back and just take a look at it, make sure the muffler is level. The tailpipe looks like where it has to be. Last thing we're going to do is put our tip on. Get our tip where we want it. Make sure it's straight and centered. I'm going to use my Allen head. Okay, now we'll finish tightening it up. We'll tighten our axle clamp up first. Now our muffler clamp. Now we'll tighten this clamp up. And that completes this installation. That wraps up this review and install of our MBRP Installer Series Catback Exhaust for 21 to 22 Broncos. Thanks for watching, and for all things Bronco, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.